They're using the same playbook to try to get everybody afraid of Ukraine and Russia, and we got to do this, we got to go fight again, even though none of these countries threaten us directly.
Are things more chaotic globally right now than you ever remember? Or is that an optical illusion just because we get so much real-time information so fast?
It's hard to
these
say
days?
because, at my age, I remember the 60s and the student counterculture movement when they were rioting in college campuses everywhere, and they were rioting in Europe too, the anti-Vietnam era. And people thought, the worst was going to happen. But I think things may be worse now because Americans have been so dumbed down. We don't have civics classes at an early enough age to teach American students the importance of our founding documents, why they exist, why the founders had the philosophy they did, how you shouldn't trust a centralized, strong government, and all the pitfalls that entails. So I think we've lost a generation or two. And the question remains whether we'll ever get it back. Look, they're using the same playbook to try to get everybody afraid of Ukraine and Russia, and we got to do this, we got to go fight again, even though none of these countries threaten us directly. None of them. Nobody can even get here. Oh my God! If you put troops on a big naval boat and launched it, we would see it on our satellites, and you could just drop a bomb on it and sink the whole thing.
Yeah.
Immediately. So it's really not anything to be worried about, but fear sells. It's really useful to manipulate people with fear.
Yeah, we've seen that in the last 4 years more than anything. What were you saying?
I had heard you say something, Rich, about obviously we put bases everywhere around the world, but imagine if China put a base in the U.S. That's what you're getting at, right?
That's right. We've basically, Pat Buchanan wrote a book called A Republic, Not an Empire. And his point was we have allowed ourselves to morph into an empire. We've got more than 800 bases or military installations all over the planet. And we're trying to basically force our will on every other country. And if they don't like it, we try to bribe them by giving them foreign aid. If that doesn't work, we do regime change. And I think there's been something like 80 regime changes since World War II. That's not what the founders intended for this country's foreign policy to look like. I think it was Jefferson, they say, honest trade and friendship with all nations and tangling alliances with none. Or George Washington in his farewell speech, I mentioned this before when I was here, he called it passionate attachments. We need to avoid passionate attachments with other countries because if we don't, their enemies will become our enemies. Let's mind our own business. And of course, Ron Paul has been all about that from the beginning.
The great Ron Paul.
Yes, the great Ron Paul. And of course, to a little bit lesser extent, his son Rand, and Tom Massey, a congressman from Kentucky. And there are those, and that idea is growing. But here we see the mainstream media that's corrupt, thoroughly corrupt. They're freaking out and they're trying to get everybody on board with, we need to attack Iran. They don't mention any event that happens, any bomb that goes off in the Middle East without prefacing it with an Iran-backed group.
Right.
And it's because they are very clearly trying to demonize Iran.
Why?
The world's biggest terrorist sponsor. Actually, no, we're the world's biggest terrorist sponsor. We supply something like 70% or more of the world's military hardware and weapons. It was the great Smedley Butler, who was two-time Medal of Honor winner, Marine Corps Commandant, who said war is a racket. It's a famous 1920s speech that he made. People should go look it up. War is a racket. And he talked about making Hawaii safe for Dole pineapple people, and he's fought here, there, and everywhere else. And it's all it is. He's a hired thug.
Yeah.
And it has not changed. There's a very big difference between people grabbing their gun over the fireplace and meeting in the town square to defend their homes and their communities with their neighbors when you get invaded. But we haven't been invaded since 1812. The War of 1812, which was another dumb war, by the way. That's where the term hawk comes from.
Really?
Yeah. The term hawk comes from 1812, and we had a bunch of young John McCain types in Congress that wanted to go out and show the British Empire that we could kick their butt. And so we got the war we wanted. They came into Washington. They burned down the White House, and everybody fled Washington. And of course, then that's when Francis Scott Key writes his Star Spangled Banner
Yeah.
from a prisoner ship on the river
Fort Sumter.
outside of Baltimore.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Thanks for checking out my videos here on the JESS Marshall YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for sure. Hit that bell. Press that button to watch the next video. If you got a question you have about any of the topics I bring up in the videos, drop a question below, and we'll be sure to get an answer back to you ASAP. See you on the next one.